Excuse me, ma'am.
Not interested.
I wasn't talking to you. Hello! Okay, people, today let's take a quick look at the Nanmu Studios Zero Set Easy Motion Velociraptor Blood Knight and White Queen. Well, half the video is memorizing all those words just stuck together. I've been on the hunt for more dinosaurs ever since I got the Marvel Legends Kazar. The Savage Land just needs more dinosaurs. I have the Mattel Amber Collection Raptor, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, but when I saw these two in stock on BigBadToyStore, I thought, okay, let's see how those stack up. Just looking at pictures, I could tell they were beautiful. So I got them. And if you watch this video and you're interested in getting them for yourself, the link is in the description. Looking at the packages, it has some... Don't get me wrong, I love this artwork, but it's very unassuming for what the figures inside look like. It's very, very cool, but stylized. And then on the back, it's the same, just reversed. In fact, I'm realizing I now had this one backwards, and it's supposed to go this way, because this is the front, this is the back. And I realized that because the front has a flap held shut with Velcro, and you open it up, you get a window to see the figure inside. And that's the same for the White Queen. There's the artwork. There's the figure. And there's not much to the inside of the flaps, just the same artwork in a circle, kind of their social media icons. Then the artwork wraps around the rest of the package. There's the side, there's the other side, there's the top, and there's the bottom with all the legalese, Nanmu Studio, warning, choking hazard, small parts. How many times do I have to tell you not to shove the prehistoric beast down your throat hole? From what I've gleaned, the figures are essentially the same, except for heads and colors. So I'm gonna open up White Queen first. It's a lighter color. We'll be able to see the sculpt a bit better in the camera. Then we'll come back around to the Blood Knight. There is an insert you can use as a background. It's the same artwork from the outer box with the Velociraptor removed. So you can put the figure in front of it or something if you want to. Before getting to the nitty gritty, there is some assembly required. You got to plug the tail on, and the design matches there. Dumbbell joint. See if this pops on without any heat. Oh yeah, easy, but very secure. It's not popping back off unless I just pull on it. Do I want to pull on it? Yeah. No harm, no foul, goes right back on. Look at this savage thing. The first thing that jumps out at me is the skin pattern. It has the patches running on top, down the back, down the spine, down the tail, and then it gets dark at the end. Then it's striped down the sides and on the arms and the leg, on the front, going down to this darker color at the feet and the hands. But it's not just patches thrown on there. There's a gradient to it to kind of fuzz it out, to make it feel more natural, on top of there being a wash to the skin just down inside the texture. That helps blend everything together. It could have just been and good to go, but no, this feels just, oh, like it just stepped out of the jungle, out of some trees, out of the woods. And it's the same with that darker color at the end of the limbs. It kind of blends in. You see that brighter beige whitish color working itself over that reddish brown. It's less subtle on the arms. It's a quicker transition from light to dark, but it does have kind of a blend, kind of a fade. It's brighter underneath, but thanks to that wash, again, it brings out all that beautiful detail that's sculpted in. Then there's some stripes right here under the neck, and then it turns to a pinkish color under the jaw. It's a more faint application of this color. Oh, and now that I look real close, look at this darker. Oh, that is the stripe color on the reddish brown. Is it the same on the feet? It goes to black claws down there and the black claws here. There is that color again around the eye. Once that catches your gaze, oh man, ooh. I don't want that staring at me through a window. Those lighter paint applications, check marking across the mouth, and then gets darker up on top on the brow, going down to the nose. Ears? It's been a while since I've looked at some Jurassic Park Velociraptor anatomy. And from what I understand, that's what this is based on. The raptors from Jurassic Park 3. Towards the end, when they finally get their eggs back, this is the one right in her face. Give me back my eggs. Let's see what's in here. Oh, there's something else you don't want to see coming at you through some barn doors. The teeth are nicely painted. It stands out against the fleshy color of the tongue and the jaw. Is that tongue a separate? It is. It is glued down in there. It's not articulated, but that's just a nice little detail. They could have easily sculpted it to the bottom jaw, and I wouldn't have even noticed or griped about it, but it being separate just ups the game. I'm gonna admit though, the articulation, the engineering of it, it does get a bit awkward in the neck just because of how many joints they put here. and how it steps. There's a smaller piece, bigger piece, bigger piece. The segmentation is kind of a jolt at first. Then you get down here and there's another one, and here, and then the usual articulation in limbs. But the more you mess around with it, and this is not me kissing its butt or anything, as I've looked at it and all the details and oh, look at that and this and that, it's kind of faded away. It doesn't nag me as much as it did at first because the way they set it up gives some nice articulation. Going through that, first of all, again, there is a jaw hinge, opens up about that far. Then there's dumbbells here, here, and here, up and down, where you can go to here or here, can crank over to here and here. And that's just gonna be the basis of some kick-ass action shots. And then all those joints allow for twist to do some turning. Getting to the arms, there is a hinge and swivel at the shoulder that swings up to about right there. And that is gonna rotate, yeah, all the way around. There's another hinge and swivel below that that gets to almost 90 and swings in and out. And then there is a swivel at the wrist with a hinge up and down. And that does expose that joint. I kind of wish it was the dark brownish red because I'm more than likely going to be posing it on the shelf like this most of the time, but I could just straighten it out, I guess, and kind of hide it. Dumbbell joint mid-torso that goes up slightly, down slightly. I think this is meant more for this and this. Again, adding to the overall turning ability. That doesn't allow for much twist, but there is a little. Then there's a ball joint at the leg that you can turn side to side and go out about that far. There's a hinge and swivel below that, goes forward this much and kicks back that much, swings in and out. There's also a hinge and swivel here for the dog leg that straightens out and kicks forward this much. The feet took me more than a couple of minutes to figure out. There is a hinge on these two toes that go forward and back, and then you can swing them side to side, and you notice they move away from the popular claw, the legendary toe. That's on its own hinge and swivel that goes down and up and then swivels. And then there's a dumbbell joint here and here in the tail. That allows for some up and some down and some left and some right. And like the neck, if you want to twist the tail a bit to, I don't know, whatever reason, there's also turning there and there. From the dumbbell joint to about right here, this is a bendy wire that has a nice tension to it. It will hold it all the way back around on itself, which is nice for stability because the feet on these are very small. Now, I don't know if that's accurate to the movie. I haven't watched it in a while, but just looking at it as an action figure, that's a lot of meat up here to balance on that small a space. But if you get the feet forward, you get the tail back, you get it kind of in a standing position, it does balance. Okay. That was unintentional. It's not too difficult. It has a balance to it. If you want to get hunched down into running, well, okay, I guess you can do that too, and it's still fairly balanced. You kick back the feet. As long as you find the center of balance, it's not bad. But if you want to get really rowdy with it, like a running pose and like this, there is one accessory, this stand, but it's a solid piece of acrylic rod and you have to work around the height of it. So you may not be able to get as rowdy as I was just showing. You have to add a little height to it and then come in and balance it on the stand. Although, what are we doing here? Again, a little posing. Oh, too far back. Well, I've got the tail sticking off. Let's straighten that out and see if I can get this balanced on one leg real quick. And it's not gonna hold for too long, but that's 1 foot. If you want it super solid on the shelf, there's the stand, can hold it up if you need it. There you go. As far as the Blood Knight goes, there is a definite color difference. It's darker. It's a beautiful contrast if you want to get both and put them on the shelf. Is it? No. It's more of a brown than a red as far as darker colors go. And the markings are also different. The patches on the back are slimmer, they're straighter, they're thinner all the way down. And that's the same for the stripes going down the legs. There's not as many. It's more uniform, maybe? While the White Queen has a lot more, smaller, just thrown in randomly. I don't think I pointed out these back claws on the White Queen, but same sculpt, so they both have those. I love this lighter heartline stripe running all the way down the body. And then it's kind of the same fade on the limbs, going from this lighter color of the underbelly and on the inside of the arms to the darker hands. And same thing down here on the feet, on the back of the legs and under the tail. It's so subtle. It looks so realistic. But again, the bodies, the limbs, the tail is all the same sculpt. The only difference, besides the paint, obviously, are the heads. Very similar in shape, the snouts, the brows, the ridge in front of the eyes, but then here's where the big difference is. These spines up on top. I'm sure those have a scientific name, but I am no scientist. Check out the white highlights on the black. That just pops them. But that also brings us to the red that is brought over from the White Queen there on top, and then blue around the eye. It's just an odd color to add to the palette, but it works. It makes the eye more visible. It makes it more prominent. The red would blend into the other colors a bit more if it wasn't for the blue domino mask. And what do we got in here? Oh, same thing. Just as scary. And while I appreciate the stand, it's not super difficult to get them upright. It's kind of cool, actually, because I thought it was going to be a pain in the ass. But as long as you get some balance to it, I think I'm just re-saying what I said a minute ago. But yeah, as long as you find the center and kind of push around, the joints stay nice and solid, there you go. Outstretched horizontally, it is about 13 3/4 from tip to tip. And then standing as upright as possible, it's about 6 3/8 to the top of the actual head. But then very, very thin at its widest spot, which is pretty much the arms, it is about 1 3/4 inches. It's not quite as beefy as the Mattel Amber Collection Velociraptor, but it more than makes up for it with skin texture and paint. The Mattel looks good, especially for the price at the time, but it is essentially just fading from light to dark brown and then a green eye. Compare that to this and all this detail, I think I don't mind paying the extra price for this. And I guess this is why I was thinking the feet were so small, because the Mattel Tootsies are just huge. But again, I can't remember exactly what they look like in the movies, but I do have a preference here. I always forget how big the Mattel Amber Collection humans are, but here's those next to the new Raptors. Clever girl. But like I said, I was wanting these for my Savage Land display, so here they are with the Marvel Legends Kazar and Zabu, and okay, that'll look good. The extra realism kind of makes them stand out on a Marvel Legends shelf, but them's the breaks. Kazar needed some dinosaurs. So at the end of the day, these dinosaurs are so dynamic. Again, like I said, the neck joints can be a bit jarring at first, but once you get to posing and seeing all the action stances you can get them in, totally worth it. But I'm a big action figure guy. I'm used to cuts and joints and swivels. If you're looking for more of a display piece, this probably isn't for you, but man, I'm telling you, it's totally worth it. Once you get it, you play around with it, you're going to be a fan for life. And that's coming from somebody who was kind of sitting on the fence when I first saw the sale page on BigBadToyStore. I thought, do I really need those? Are they going to do what I want them to do? And I'm glad I got them, because they can do exactly what I want them to do. They're badass looking Velociraptors that can get in any stance. Again, look, I do not have the stands under these. This one's standing with the help of its tail a bit, but then the White Queen is just balanced on her feet, just from this. Look, it's amazing. It may take some fiddling, and some of the joints have gotten a bit smoother the more I've messed with them, so they may loosen up over time, but that's just the game we play when we play with toys. As I'm recording this moment in time, they're nice and solid and balanced. That's the key word here, I think, balance. And I'm not just talking about the posability, the ability to stand on those tiny feet, but there's also a balance between the engineering of articulation and the sculpt, the overall proportions, the silhouette. And again, the neck, a little bit, it's segmented, but oh so worth it. It's a nice balance. They've also got some other dinosaurs available, but I wanted Raptors because they're small, they fit in with what I got. The other ones seem larger, and I may not have room for that kind of thing, but I may give them a try at some point in the future, now that I know that the company is good. Now, I feel like these were based on Jurassic Park, but there's no licensing on the package or anything that says Jurassic Park. I think this is more of a inspired by, even though they do look exactly like the Jurassic Park 3 raptors. Hey, I'm a toy collector. I'm a reviewer. I ain't no lawyer. So take that as you will. If you're interested, the link is in the description. That's all I got. Bye.